The Haunting of Blackwood Manor. It was supposed to be the perfect weekend getaway. Four friends, Lena, Mark, Sarah, and Tom, decided to escape their busy lives and head out to a secluded mansion in the countryside. The mansion, known as Blackwood Manor, had stood abandoned for decades, surrounded by thick woods and shrouded in eerie local legends. It was the perfect setting for an adventurous escape from the pressures of the city. Despite the rumors, stories of strange occurrences, disappearances, and a haunted past, the group was determined to make their own fun. They arrived on a foggy Friday evening, the setting sun casting long, ominous shadows over the manor. The mansion stood tall and imposing, its once grand facade now weathered and covered in ivy. The front door creaked open as Mark pushed it, and they stepped inside, laughing nervously. "Come on, it's just an old house. We'll have some fun," Tom said, trying to break the tension. The air inside the manor was thick with dust, and the faint smell of decay lingered. The walls were lined with old portraits, their faces faded with time. As they explored the rooms, the group joked about how creepy everything was, but deep down, they all felt a strange unease. That night, as the friends gathered in the large, dimly lit living room, Sarah mentioned the story she'd heard from the locals about the Blackwood family, the original inhabitants of the house. "They say the family vanished without a trace decades ago. People think their spirits are still trapped in this house," Sarah explained, her voice laced with curiosity. "Sounds like typical ghost story stuff," Mark laughed, settling into an armchair. "Who's up for a drink?" But Lena wasn't so sure. She had heard the rumors too, how the Blackwood family had been known for strange rituals and a dark history. It was said that they had been obsessed with immortality, using dark forces to try and cheat death. The house had been abandoned after their sudden disappearance, and no one had ever dared to live there again. Later that evening, as they sat around a roaring fire, Lena couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching them. She stood up to explore the upper floors, eager to distract herself. Tom followed her, and the two friends made their way through the dark, narrow hallways of the manor. Upstairs, in an old attic room, they found an antique portrait of the Blackwood family. The faces were all blurry, distorted with age, except for one, a young girl with hollow, lifeless eyes, staring directly at the camera. The chill in the air seemed to grow colder as Lena studied the portrait, unable to tear her gaze away from the girl's unsettling stare. "I don't like this," Tom muttered, shivering. "Let's go back downstairs." But before they could leave, Sarah called up from the bottom of the stairs. "Hey, guys, we need to talk about something weird happening downstairs." They rushed back down to find Sarah standing by the fireplace, looking pale. Mark was beside her, his eyes wide with fear. "There's something in the garden," Sarah said, voice trembling. "I saw a figure standing there. It looked like a little girl. Her eyes were glowing." Lena's heart skipped a beat. The portrait. The girl in the attic. It couldn't be. "Are you sure it wasn't just an animal?" Tom asked, trying to stay calm. But Sarah shook her head. "Number. It was standing perfectly still, and when I looked closer, it disappeared." Without warning, the lights flickered and a loud bang echoed from the kitchen. The group froze. Lena felt a cold breeze brush past her, as though something unseen had moved through the room. Suddenly, they heard a faint whisper, a voice calling her name. "Lena." Lena turned, heart pounding, but saw nothing. It was a whisper, a soft, chilling voice that seemed to come from all directions at once. "Did you hear that?" Mark whispered, looking around nervously. Before anyone could respond, Lena walked toward the back door. The garden was covered in mist, and the silhouette of the mansion loomed over them like a dark giant. In the distance, she saw the figure of a girl standing by the wrought iron gates. The same girl from the portrait. Her eyes gleamed with a supernatural light. Without thinking, Lena stepped outside. "Lena, wait," Tom called, but it was too late. As she neared the girl, the earth beneath her feet seemed to shift. The ground cracked open and Lena fell, disappearing into the earth as the others screamed her name. Desperate to save her, Mark, Tom, and Sarah rushed toward the spot where Lena had fallen. But as they reached the garden, the air turned thick and suffocating, the shadows seeming to reach out for them. The mansion was alive, its walls creaking and shifting as if it were aware of their presence. As the group searched frantically for Lena, they discovered an old diary hidden in the attic. It was filled with the Blackwood family's twisted rituals, sacrifices, curses, and a terrifying attempt to summon immortality through dark forces. It was clear now, the Blackwood family had never truly vanished. They were trapped in the house, cursed to haunt it forever. And the spirits were hungry for more souls. In a panic, they tried to escape, but the house had other plans. The doors slammed shut, locking them inside. Figures began to emerge from the shadows, ghostly, twisted, and vengeful. The family had never left, and now they would claim the lives of the friends who had dared to trespass. In the final moments, only Sarah managed to escape, running through the now dark and decrepit hallways. She burst out into the garden, her heart racing. But as she looked back, she saw the mansion in the distance, the faces of the Blackwood family staring from every window. And in the window where Lena had disappeared, there was a new face. A young girl with hollow, glowing eyes, staring out into the night.